back in here this morning pulling taps. We don't have a lot left to go. The old man worked on it this week with Rex. Rex came to the woods this week, and I think after a couple of days of walking that mountain, he had enough, which is totally understandable. But anyways, I'm going to show you how we pull taps. So we pull taps under vacuum. So I get questions in the comment sections all the time. Do you wash your lines? We do not wash our lines. And most big operations, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure they don't wash their lines either, because it would take forever to wash every single line in that wood. So what we do, we turn the vacuum pump on and we go to the end tree and we pull from the top down. And what that does, that pulls about 95% of the sap out of the line. So we're gonna get the vacuum pump fired up and we'll show you how we do it.
If you were to wash the lines, how would somebody even do that?
So a lot of times what they'll do, take some solution, I don't know if it's a vinegar or whatever it is, and they'll carry a little bottle with them and they'll pull the tap out under vacuum and they'll stick it in that solution and it'll pull that solution down the line.
Wow.
So just imagine doing 7,000 taps like that. That would multiply your time by like, and it really, to me, there's a lot of theories on this, but it doesn't really make that big of a difference, because if you pull 95% of the sap out of the lines under vac regularly, next year when the first run starts, you let that little bit run on the ground or put it in a tank and drain it out, you really don't see any bacteria in the lines, especially if you got good pitch. That's the key. If you got good pitch, you won't have hardly any sap sitting in your line. So that's how we do it. Is it the right way? I don't know, but it's the way I like to do it because it's fast. We can move on to do other things, and like I said, it gets about 95% out of the tree or out of the line. So we'll go in here. We're going to start the vacuum pump. I'll show you what the releaser looks like that hasn't been washed in about 10 days. Pretty disgusting. That's disgusting right there.
I've never seen it look like that. Oh.
So basically what that is, that's 70-degree weather. Pulling taps, that's all the sap coming down the lines. You know, it's the end of the season. Anybody that's a sugar maker knows this is what you deal with. So like when you watch my videos throughout the season, it's always spotless in there. But this is how it is at the end of the season when we're all done. So we're gonna finish pulling these taps and then I'll wash everything out with a pressure washer. It'll be all pretty. So what I like to do when I'm pulling taps is I'll back this point setting way off. So right now I got this set at like 0.68. There's no reason to run low, high back on the woods when you're pulling taps, because all it's going to do is run wide open like it's doing right now. Raising that way up, that point setting, it will just be idle and it'll pull back. It's not running wide open all the time. All right, let's go pull these tabs. All right, so we're just getting our tools set up here. I got to empty out my pouch because this was basically set up for fixing leaks. We don't need to do that anymore. Man, it's chilly this morning, 36 degrees. This weather. Typical New York, warms up 70, then goes back to 30. So I got a chance when I got done with work. I was working fairly close to St. Albans. I was in Fort Ticonderoga and I was able to make Maple open house last Friday night. Last Friday I drove up there quick and I got myself a new tapping hammer with a claw so I can pop taps. Hopefully this works pretty good. We're gonna bring that. I like to carry a 5-gallon pail with me because I cut the spouts off and I put them right in a 5-gallon pail. Bring that. Nice thing about the pail, you can set it down on the ground. This is what the old man uses. This big long thing, actual tap pullers. I can't believe I gotta put gloves on.
We're not in Florida anymore.
No, I miss that place. All right, so follow me, babe. Got my beautiful wife on camera today. She didn't want to. This would be the first tap on the line right here because it hooks into the sub main. So this is only 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 4-tap line. So we're gonna start at the end tree. It's a lot more walking because you got to start at the top every time, but we'll go up there and we'll start pulling. So what I like to do is I like to pop it out of the tree first and then cut it off. So let's see if this works. That works nice. So then we'll cut the spout off. So you gotta be careful. So right here, I'll show you where the old man made the mistake last year. See the end of that spout right there? He got up in here when he was cutting these off. So you want to stay about a 1/2 inch down, not a big deal. Pop it right off there. Throw that in the bucket. And then wrap this, goes right back around and it hooks right in. This goes right back around in here like this. You don't want to bury that too far because you won't get them off next year, especially being a little sticky, right, hon? You've had to pull them off. So now, if there's any residual sap in these lines, there's not anything really in these lines because they're real steep, but it'll suck that sap down. So you don't want to start down at the bottom. You want to start at the top. Next one down. This is pretty steep in here. That's why I like carrying a pail. You can set it down. You don't have to hold on to it all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. The key here. All you gotta do is see the end of that spout right there. So you want to see like right about right there. Chop that baby right off. Run it right back in. Grab that. So people always ask, do you reuse these? No, we don't reuse these. We use them 1 year and we throw them right out because there's so much bacteria in that wouldn't even perform next year. I mean, you can see inside right now. You can see it's kind of white.
I still believe that they need to have a deposit on those.
That would be sweet.
And then you just at the end you take them in, even if you get 1 cent for them, and then they recycle them and make new ones out of it.
That would be a game changer. We make money. They don't want us to make money though. They want to make all the money. You know that.
You could recycle those for sure.
Oh yeah. Man, them babies are in there. Who put them in? You see that robin right there just flew up in that tree. The drop line material is a softer material, so you got to have really good cutters to cut it. Otherwise, it doesn't cut very good. Time I come across something like this too, when you're in the woods, a stick on your line, you know, make sure you get that off there.
That's what that's for?
What's that?
The hammer.
Yeah, it's a puller too.
Oh, okay.
Probably doesn't work quite as good as a regular puller. You want to be careful when you're slipping these back on these plug tees for the off season, because if you all right?
Yep.
Because if you bury this, you'll never, it's so hard to get this back off. We had to cut these off last year, a lot of these, so you live and you learn. That 4 tap line's done. We got one right here that's got 2 taps on it. We'll get that quick. We got to look around and see where else we got to go. So like I said, we can pull taps in half the amount of time it takes to put them in, so it's nice. Pulling taps goes pretty fast, and we will miss some. We'll find them next year, but the key is to get these out of the tree as fast as you can, so that hole right there will heal up. And this is a pretty good healthy tree here, so that should heal. By next year, that should be fully healed. Oh, I didn't do this one right. I was supposed to start at the end tree. I guess it won't hurt. There's only 2 taps on this one. You're looking at drop. See how it's sucking? See how it tries a little bit of bacteria in there? See how it's moving down the line? There. All right, so you kind of get the drift how we pull taps. It's a repetitive process. It takes a little time, but you do it right, there's nothing in the lines. Well, what I like to do too is, like when we do repairs in the winter, I usually just put the tubing in a spot where I can pick it up in the spring, and right here's a pile. So we'll pick this up. I'm very fussy about having a clean woods. I treat it like it is my woods, because you know, would you want to walk through your woods and see people's tubing laying all over the place? So there's a little bit there, there's a piece over there I'll go grab to treat the woods with the utmost respect. This line, so this line I had to change it mid-season because that tree back there snapped. See how it snapped off? So I was hooked around that tree and it was leaking, so I shortened it up to that tree there. So look at the ground in here, babe. The turkeys have been in here. We're just taking a run through the woods because the guys pulled taps this week while I was away at work. Just double checking their work. It's always good to have 6 sets of eyes instead of 4. So we noticed a tree that they missed, so we're gonna go pull that right now. I got the actual sap puller this time, so it's a little easier. The sap puller does work a lot easier. It gets up in there a lot better. We're way up here at the top of the hill. You hear how good that vacuum level is? Things look pretty good for the most part. So, all right, we'll head back to side by side. My wife has an eagle eye. I don't know if you can see that tree over there, but there's a tap still in it. So I'm gonna run over there quick and get it. We just keep finding taps that they missed. Here's another one.
It's snowing.
Yep. It is, babe. I'm going to bring you with me more often, babe. You don't miss nothing. Saw this one from the road over there. I'm not sure how the boys managed to miss these two. They got that one, and they got that one, and I know they could see these, so I don't know how they missed them. Do you, hon? We weren't coming over here to get these two. I didn't see these two until I drove over here. But there's one down over the hill. We got to go get that. We don't have a lot of time because we got a basketball game to go to here in a little bit. So we got to get as much done as we can in the next hour and get out of here. We're getting some snow in the Maplewoods, hon. We're down here by this sign. So the history on this property, from what I've been told, this is not the owner that owns it now, but the one before him. He has something to do with the mafia down in New York City. Rumor was he was assassinated. He was shot in the head. So there's a sign in the woods right here. I'll show you. His name was John, by the way. Well, every time we come through here, we see this sign called John's Woods. Kind of odd, but what if John is buried here at the foot of this tree? Like I've always thought, like, because nobody knows where he went. He like disappeared. The story is, so like maybe the mafia, maybe they assassinated him and they brought him up here and they buried him in his own woods. I don't know why there's a sign in here that says John's Woods. I have no idea. But anyways, it's kind of a story that every time we drive by this and we see that sign, that's what I instantly think of, is this guy being shot and buried in his own woods. So anyways, it's a little creepy when it's Halloween, all right, hon?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're doing good. We're working our way down through the woods. It looks pretty good here. I don't think we have a whole lot left to do here, so we'll see what we can come up with. We just went through the woods. I think I found everything. There might be a couple up there. Usually we miss them, but taps are completely pulled in this woods. I'm gonna shut the vacuum pump off. But that's how we do it. That's how we pull taps right there. We start at the end tree and we suck all the sap right out of the entire tubing system. It brings it right down into the releaser, goes in the tank, goes out the drain. So next order of business, clean the releaser and clean the tanks. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.